And welcome to another episode of Live in the Hive, the only online magazine show dedicated to theatre across Greater Manchester. I'm Michelle Eagleton, and a big thank you for tuning in tonight. You might be tuning in on the I Love Manchester Facebook page or our very own Live in the Hive Facebook page. Do stay with us for the next 30 minutes. We have got a jam-packed show tonight. All of these guests are going to be talking to me a little bit later on. Yes, coming up on Live in the Hive tonight, we've got Sean Jones, one of the stars of that iconic musical Blood Brothers, which is coming to the Lowry next week. We've got the wonderful Rob Bowden-King, who you might remember from Britain's Got Talent, a brilliant vocalist. He's going to be doing a concert called Musicals and Me, telling us all about the very special guest he's got as well for that one. And if that wasn't enough, we have got Tyler Dobbs, the star of A Midsummer Night's Dream, which is currently on at Shakespeare North Playhouse. Honestly, this is a cracking show. I am very excited tonight. First up, though, let's get straight to it, because one of my favourite musicals has to be Blood Brothers by Willy Russell. It has been around for ages and it is still capturing the audience's hearts, and one of those people who has been involved in it for way more than others has to be Sean Jones. And one of the first things that I asked him was, is he in the Guinness Book of Records yet? I feel like he should be.
Do you know what? I don't think I am, because I think there's people like Topol in Fiddler on the Roof that probably beat me. But I think I must have broken some records somewhere. I've certainly broken some dressing rooms. So,
well, I tell you what, I can understand why you want to stay with Blood Brothers. It is one of my favourite musicals, and I never tire of watching it. But for you as an actor, making it fresh every night for 2 decades, is that a challenge, or is it just kind of like, do you go into kind of that mode of like, you are Mickey?
Do you know what? I just really enjoy it still. And one of the things that does keep it fresh for me is obviously we get new cast members, and that always bring something fresh to the table, but every night it's a different audience. So you have to, they're a character that you don't meet until you go out on stage. So you might have a slightly quiet audience that you think I've got to get them going, or they might be a little bit raucous and you think, oh God, I'm gonna have to calm these lot down a little bit. And there's always something. You have to, as long as you're listening to the other actors on stage and you're listening to the audience, it should be keeping fresh generally. But on top of that, Mickey's such a brilliant part that I'm still finding new things with it. You know, I mean, it's 20 years on. You'd think I'd have got it right by now.
You definitely have, honest to God. We've seen you a lot up and down the country. You've been in the West End. You've been on all the tours. You talk about raucous audiences. I imagine the Liverpool crowd might be the most raucous, because that's in its home place where
they are pretty raucous, but you know, over the years we've been to some I'm North Walian. I'm from a little town in North Wales, and I remember once we were going to Rill. The first time we went to Rill, I remember saying to the cast, oh God, we're going to have a rubbish time, and they were through the roof. So you never know what you're going to get, really. Like we're in Blackpool this week, you can imagine what that's like, you know, hen parties and
Oh, they'll be well up for it. Absolutely well up for it. We're looking forward to having you next week at the Lowry in Salford. And talking about kind of different audiences, you've gone through a lot of Mrs. Johnson's. And, you know, we're talking of people.
I've had them all, love.
You've had Nancy. I mean, a Spice Girl. That's amazing. But, of course, the Nolans. I mean, gosh, all the Nolan sisters pretty much have played that role. So many people. I'm going to ask you what I probably shouldn't ask you. Who's your favourite? Who's been your favourite?
Well, I'm going to be as political as I always And do you know what? And this genuinely isn't a fob off, because I don't think I've ever worked with a Mrs. Johnston that I haven't enjoyed working with. And it's I've been blessed, really. So like you say, through all the Nolans, who weirdly, because I'm in Blackpool this week, I'm getting to see them all. They're a little bit like my surrogate mothers. I call them my showbiz mums. And so I'll be seeing Linda and Maureen. I saw Anne last night, but I'll be seeing Denise as well. So I'm all of them. And I think one of the ones that really feels like my mum the most, because she puts me in my place where like mums do, is probably Linda. I'm incredibly close, and especially with, you know, over the last few years with the stuff that she's had to deal with, I've become even closer with her. So, you know, but genuinely on stage, I've just been so lucky, and I've never had a bad one. So and they all have different aspects of them, which, you know, I warm to. So it's really lovely. How about that for avoiding the question? There we go.
You did avoid it, but you answered it as well. So you get a big tick from me, Sean. You get a big tick from me. The part itself, though, if I had to choose between which twin I would like to play, I do think Mickey is like, he's got everything. He's cheeky. He's the rough one, you know. He's the one that feels like he's been put upon because Eddie's got, you know, all the money, all kind of the chances. But we really do take him to our hearts. So I think you've got all the audience's hearts.
Yeah, and I think that probably goes to why I've stuck with it as long as I have, is because it's just beautifully written. And not only is it beautifully written, as in he's, you know, all those reasons that you said, that he's cheeky, he's funny, he gets all the best lines. He sort of has this weird kind of thing of whenever the play's getting a bit dark, Mickey comes in and we go, so we end up starting to rely on Mickey for not comic relief, but, you know, for kind of, we feel at ease when Mickey is on, which is why Willy Russell is a genius, because what he does to Mickey in the last 20 minutes of the play is a proper gut punch to the audience. I remember as an audience member, the first time I saw it, when Mickey comes on in the prison scene, and you're suddenly aware that the Mickey that you've kind of fallen in love with all the way through has gone, and he's not coming back, and he's changed, and that feeling is like, it's so real for just the character in the play. It's so real because we can all relate to that. We could, we've all had those moments in life where, you know, things change and that, you know, they're never going back, those fixed points in our lives where things change. And Willy Russell brilliantly does that in Blood Brothers, so that once that happens, all bets are off. Once you, you know, he kind of kills off Mickey even while he's still alive. And that really unnerves the audience. And that's a joy as an actor, because obviously, you know, making an audience laugh is brilliant, but also making them uncomfortable and making them cry is also brilliant, because we're actors. We like telling stories, and we like provoking a reaction in our audience. So Mickey is it's just got the whole gamut of it, really.
No, I can totally understand why you are in love and have stayed with it, but it's going to be one hell of an emotional night when you say goodbye to Mickey, because I believe you're hanging up the shoes. Please tell me you might change your mind. You've still got time to change your mind, Sean.
Well, I won't be changing it. I won't be changing it immediately. I think being away for practically a whole year, you know, I miss my daughter, and I miss my missus and stuff. So it'd be nice to get home, and never say never again. The only thing is, you know, I'm 51 now, so I'm running around the stage, and at the moment I'm getting away with it.
Yeah.
And what I would hate is people go, "Oh, doesn't he look old?" Do you know what I mean? I never want to get to that part. And fortunately, I haven't yet, and nobody's picked up on it in reviews yet. So I'm getting away with it, and I just, you know, leave while I'm on a high, really, you know.
You're using very good moisturizer, Sean. I can tell you, you're doing good.
Well, I am blessed. I do have a baby face. I've always looked younger than my age, and I know that's kept me in Blood Brothers as longer than maybe some of the Mickeys who have kind of, you know, been younger than me but looked older than me, and that's been great, and it's kept me in work. But one of these days, gravity and the years are going to catch up with me, and, you know, my horse is definitely getting shorter as I'm running around the stage. It's more of a Shetland pony now than it, you know.
I love it. You mentioned your missus then, and this is special for you, the show, because, you know, you've been in it for so long, but this is where you met your wife. She played Mrs. Lyons. Thank God she didn't play Mrs. Johnson, because I don't know if there'd be something a little bit wrong with that, Sean.
Well, you know, as you may be aware, Mrs. Lyons understudies Mrs. Johnston. So she has actually played my mum on stage on numerous occasions. And let me tell you, yeah, it's weird.
It is, I imagine. Oh, my goodness.
There's something very Greek about it, I think.
You couldn't have made it up, but honestly, to find love in the show as well is really special. And you actually got married, didn't you, on a day when you had a 2-show performance?
Yeah, got married on a 2-show day. Went and did a matinee, took the cast out after the evening show, and then we had another sort of like do for the family on the Sunday. And then when my missus was pregnant, she toured as Mrs. Lyons up until being about 7 months pregnant. So all those scenes where Mrs. Lyons is saying, "Oh, unfortunately, I can't have children," you kind of go,
"Oh, wow!"
But she got away with it. No one ever spotted that she was pregnant, and it was literally the week after she finished that tour. It was almost like our daughter just went, "Oh!" I kind of just. She instantly looked pregnant the week after we finished. But then about 6 months later, we were like, "Oh, how do we make this work with me needing to work and her needing to, you know, be a mother and stuff?" And we came up with the idea of asking Bill Kenwright if it was all right for us to tour as a family. So for 4 years, my little girl came off on tour with us.
Wow. Oh, that's brilliant. That's really good. That does mean, though, now that your daughter is going to have jazz hands and probably go into the business.
Do you know what? I mean, yeah, she's 13 now, and she's been. When we used to put her on the naughty step, she'd turn it into a stage. I mean, it's just like we're damned. We're absolutely.
I thought you were about to say it would put her on the naughty step, and she'd start singing from Matilda the musical.
Well, do you know, she was desperate to be in that, and then she sort of like missed the boat really with that age-wise, and now she's a bit of a cool teenager. So she's sort of, you know, she's actually just done a production of Macbeth with my wife. She went and she played a small part in Macbeth with my wife in Liverpool last week. So yeah, I reckon in about 10 years she may be in Blood Brothers, and I would definitely have to leave then if she was playing Linda, because that would be weird.
Yeah, no, that would be. Now I've got to ask, would Willy Russell be sending you some flowers, you think, on your final day? Does he keep in touch with any of the cast members? Because you're a bit.
No, not really. I'm quite lucky because I've got a bit of a relationship with Willy. He's seen me do it on a few times, and I think he likes my Mickey. And he kind of keeps himself separate from Bill's production of it, really. So we don't see him very much. We're going in Liverpool in a few weeks. He may turn up. If he doesn't, I'm sure his people will, just to sort of, you know, there's a lot of quality control of Blood Brothers. We're not just allowed to, you know, so we get Bill Kenwright will be coming to make sure that we're all doing, you know, what we're supposed to be doing. Bob Thompson's coming today in Blackpool to double check that, you know, the show's in good state. Willy Russell will either turn up or his people will turn up to make sure that we're not changing the script dramatically or anything like that. So there's a lot of quality control, so we can't get away with anything. So he may turn up. I hope he does. The last time I saw him, I always say this was probably my most Blood Brothers moment, was taking a bow at the Liverpool Empire, holding Barbara Dixon's hand, knowing that Willy Russell was in the audience. And I was thinking, well, it doesn't get more Blood Brothers than this. That's that was terrifying but brilliant.
That is iconic. That is one hell of a moment, honestly. Well, we look forward to seeing you, honestly, because if there was ever going to be somebody who gave us an amazing performance of Mickey, it's going to be you. So I will be there watching you, Blood Brothers. As I say, I've got my tissues in my bag. I fully know I'm going to be using them. Totally. Oh, I can't help but cry all the time when I go and see Blood Brothers. If you've seen it before, you'll know exactly what I mean. It doesn't matter that I know what's coming. I just cry buckets. But if you're going to see it at the Lowry this week in Salford, you are definitely in for a treat. Seeing Sean as Mickey in that musical, he's absolutely fantastic. Now, we've still got more to come here on Live in the Hive. I'm going to be chatting to Rob Bowden-King. He's going to be telling me about his concert musicals and me. And of course, we've got a fantastic interview with Manchester-born actor Tyler Dobbs. Now, he's currently starring in a Midsummer Night's Dream at the Shakespeare North Playhouse, which is in Prescott. If you haven't been to that new venue, then I would suggest you go. I know it's a little bit further afield, but it is an absolutely magnificent building and theatre, and this just is going to be amazing to see Shakespeare's production of A Midsummer Night's Dream in that very building. And it's Shakespeare, as you may have never seen it before. So stay with me on that one. We're going to find out more about that production from Tyler very, very soon. But for now, let's catch up with a friend of the show. He's called Rob Bowden-King. You may have seen him earlier this year on Live in the Hive. I invited him back because I am really excited about his concert musicals and me. I love musicals. You know that if you've watched Live in the Hive. He was on Britain's Got Talent. You'll have seen his face from that and heard his amazing vocals. And I couldn't not start with a little bit of a girl crush on him. So yeah, take a look at this. You're a man after my own heart, right? Two things. Mm-hmm. You're an absolutely fantastic vocalist. I love your voice. And you must love musical theatre just as much as I do.
Yeah, I if that's possible, yes, I think it is.
And this is why we are back together and reunited, because you mentioned last time you came on that you were doing musicals and me. And I was like, this sounds the night dreams are made of for me. All right. Mm-hmm. And it is round the corner now, because it was going to be in July. It has to be postponed, which is good for me because I couldn't make a July date.
I'm not sure I can make the July date.
But it's round the corner now. It's the 28th that you're going to be at the wonderful Bowden Rooms. Are you excited?
Yeah, I can't wait. I'm really, it's funny because when it was coming around to the July date, about 6 or 7 weeks before, I was like, I had, you sort of had this intuition moment where there's like a crystal ball and you go, something doesn't feel like it's going to go to plan. It doesn't feel like it's coming together. And I took the decision. It was a really hard decision to go, look, this isn't going to work this time. Let's just push it back a couple of months. And sure enough, then summer was both incredibly busy and stressful. I had so much on my plate. I've got, and I'll talk more about them. I've got special guests coming from London. They wouldn't have made it on the date because of strikes and all the rest. And I knew
you
something.
Did the right thing. You did the right thing. And you also did an Adele.
Yeah, I did. It wasn't ready. We just needed a bit more time.
Absolutely. And this is going to be fabulous. So tell us, what can we expect then on the 28th? Because it's going to be musical-tastic, right?
It's going to be packed to the rafters with musicals. The basic idea is that Musicals and Me is a very personal, I'd say almost a journey through the West End and Broadway musicals that I love and have formed my absolute passion for musical theatre. So there'll be plenty of everybody's favourites in there, including mine, and a couple of curveballs as well. I've got amazing special guests coming up from London. I've got an amazing local choir involved, and we're even previewing a new musical as well, which I'm involved in. Actually, I'm involved in next week, so I do keep myself busy.
Could that be Mallory on the Mountain?
It might well be Mallory on the Mountain, yes.
Oh, see, did my research tick?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we workshopped it last year. It's a brand new musical written by Ollie Mills, and it's a really gorgeous musical written about the life of George Mallory, who was one of the first people to try and climb Everest back in the 1920s, and he's actually local to Altrincham, near enough. He grew up in Moberly, so just down the road. And it sort of tells the sort of key points of his life up until his fateful last climb, where he and his climbing partner, Sandy Irvin, who I'm playing, went up but didn't come back down, and were never seen again. And George's body was found in 1999, so 75 years after he
Wow.
appeared on the side of the mountain. But Sandy, my character's never been found. So there's lots of mystery as to whether they made it to the top and were coming back down. And I'm super, super excited because this has come back around now to the Lowry next week, and it's happened quite quickly in sort of a concert version. And I've been very lucky to be recast. And then,
this is fab. And then you're going to have one of the songs or a couple of songs are going to be featured in Musicals and Me.
Yeah, a nice sort of taste test of it. Just a bit of the hit sort of parts of the musical. We'll do sort of a medley or something like that. I'm not going to give too much away at my show. Yes, so I'm really, really excited to bring something brand new, and I've got 3 of the cast performing with me and doing their own songs as well, doing their own music, and just expect lots of pizzazz, lots of duets, lots of really amazing music. It's really, really exciting. And the choir is the Magic Voices Choir, who, again, they're local to Altrincham. So, yeah, really excited about that.
It's going to sound amazing. And that venue is fantastic because it's very intimate in its style because it's cabaret style, isn't it?
Cabaret style seating, tables, table service drinks.
Yes.
I mean, what more could you possibly want? You just get to go in and sit down. It's I've sort of spoken to a couple of people who are still a little bit, anxious about COVID and mixing and being in sort of a packed theatre. And I've sort of said, look, it's not going to be like that. You're going to be in your own table, sort of separate from other people and able to sort of just relax and enjoy yourself. And you don't even have to go to the bar. They can come to you. And the Bone Rooms is just such a beautiful venue. The team did an amazing job. They took it over just before the first lockdown, and they've completely renovated it. It's an iconic Altrincham venue. And I sort of met them and sort of formed my relationship with them about 18 months ago. So it's really exciting for me to bring a solo show to Altrincham for the first time, because obviously I grew up here. So it's nice to have that sort of my first in my hometown.
It's going to be so special. And you know what? The Bowden Rooms and that kind of style makes me think of the old Vegas stage, when Sinatra used to play in, those venues, and they all used to sit around and have the little table lamps on, and he'd come and do his show. I think that'll be such an amazing thing to experience.
Yeah, absolutely. And that sort of style sort of really, really speaks to me. That sort of laid back cocktail bar vibe of, you just come in and watch a show. And that sort of thing that, there's a couple of venues popping up in Manchester who are starting to do that sort of thing that I've been like, I really want this to happen in Manchester, and it is finally. But to do that on a big scale with a beautiful big stage and, full lighting and a gorgeous sound system, it's going to be, hopefully it's going to feel, I want it to feel sort of like a night at the Royal Albert Hall, just a bit compact, a bit more compact. That's what I want it to feel like.
Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Now I'm going to ask you, what is the favourite song that you are looking forward to performing on that night? There must be one that you just kind of go, oh, that's the one for me.
Oh, the one I'm most looking forward to singing, that is, you know what, and I'm not going to tell you what it is, but it's the finale. It's the finale number in the second act.
Right.
It's going to be amazing. And let me just say, it won't just be me. There's everybody going to be on stage, and it's going to be a real sort of,
Well, I bring the tissues.
Bring the tissues. I think, we've planned this really beautiful program. Actually, one of my guests, Alex, is singing a song that I hadn't really heard before and now have become obsessed with. So I'm so excited to hear him do that. And I've got some gorgeous duets in there. I'm doing some songs from things like Dear Evan Hansen.
Oh, I love Dear Evan Hansen.
Yeah, Fans with the Opera, and Waitress is in there. Heathers is in there. So, we sort of go from old to new. It's really amazing, and obviously some Wicked, because Wicked is my favorite. But
and you do an amazing version of Defying Gravity, because I know I've heard it.
Shockingly, I'm not singing Defying Gravity.
Well, I might just not come now. What are you singing, Rob?
Well, I'm not singing anything from Wicked myself. So yeah,
Oh.
but it had to be in there. So I graciously asked a couple of my guests if they would like to sing something. So so there'll be something from Wicked, which will be really special.
The cogs are ticking now. The cogs are ticking.
I don't want to give too much away. You know, it's going to be. I'm really excited about what we're doing, and
do you know what? This is more than anything. I think this is going to be a great night to whet people's appetite to go and explore different types of musicals, because some people, you do get stuck in a rut, you know, you kind of go for the obvious ones, but like you've just mentioned, they're Heathers, you know, Dear Evan Hansen. These are incredible musicals, but sometimes because people may not have heard the music as much as maybe Les Mis or Miss Saigon, they just generate and don't kind of move on. So actually, you're getting a taste of all these, which is incredible.
Absolutely. I think what I really wanted to do is give this sort of nice sort of breadth of, you know, I'm an 11 o'clock number man. All of my shows, as you all know, they're all 11 o'clock numbers. Everything's big ballads and big singing. And that's what I really wanted to do, but I wanted to do something that sort of encompassed all, because I've got classics from the old movie musicals of the 50s all the way through to the brand new musicals of the 2010s, and then of course a brand spanking new musical in Mallory on the Mountain. You know, just sort of it, as well as it shows my journey and my love for theatre, it sort of shows the journey of musical theatre as it's come through the ages. You know, we've got, I'm not going to tell you what we've got. I've said enough.
No, you're giving me goosebumps already, Rob. Honestly, it's going to be amazing. Always a tease. He's not giving much away, is he, Rob Bowden-King? But what I can tell you is that night is going to be really, really special. So if you want to join him, then do go to the website that you saw on the screen there and bag your tickets, because I don't think there's going to be many left for that one. Now, talking of tickets, one of the hottest tickets in town at the moment is over in Prescott. It's at Shakespeare North Playhouse, because not only is this an incredible brand new theatre that everybody is dying to see, but also it's got a very cool production of A Midsummer Night's Dream. I managed to catch up with one of the leading actors from that particular show, Tyler Dobbs. He's Mank, he's brilliant. What more could we ask for? Well, I've got to say, Tyler, you get the #1 prize for the most impressive background there where you are. You're at Shakespeare North Playhouse. It looks incredible.
It is incredible, honestly. Like, sat here now with it empty and just me and you. I don't know. I feel really grateful and like buzzing to be here today.
So special because it's still very new, the Shakespeare North Playhouse in Prescott. And this is the only place that has got this style of cockpit theatre that we're used to, kind of some like 17th century timber built. And we've got it in the north now, the only place outside of London town. Get in.
It's crazy, isn't it? Like, to think
and you're performing on it. What's it like performing on it?
It's like, so I got chances. I didn't see the theatre, but I came when they were building it. So I've really got to see it come from, you know, start from nothing to what it is. And it's like, it is still a bit of a pinch me moment, to be honest with you. Like, I love performing in the round, you know, I'm from Manchester, so I spent a lot of time going to watch things at the Royal Exchange.
Yes.
So to do it here, like, for me, theatre has always been in the round. So I feel even more at home being in the north, getting to drive into work every day and just coming to this beautiful place. Like, you know, some of the audience members, when I come in, I'll hear them saying, like, you can smell it. You can smell the wood. And that is just like sensational. Like, you can actually smell this brand new building.
It is so impressive. I have sat in those seats myself. I've been to have a look, and it is just, it's an experience in itself. But let's just talk about your production of A Midsummer Night's Dream, because by goodness, it's getting some great reviews, because you have kind of turned it on its head. I love it when Shakespeare is kind of shook up.
Yeah, it's the reviews have been phenomenal, and the audience's response every night, every matinee has just been electric. Like, it's so special to be a part of this and bring this to a community, to a region. And I mean, I'm sure people come from out of the northwest to come and see it. and it's just really cool to be a part of this amazing thing. And Not Too Tame, Matthew Dunster, Shakespeare North, and Northern Stage, what they've done, it just created this beast, this amazing piece of theatre, which is just accessible for all audiences, for people of all, 40, we advised to come at 14 up, and just to experience Shakespeare in a way which is I've never experienced before, on stage and off. Yeah, they've really flipped it on its head and made it into something really special.
Absolutely. Now, I'm loving the Manchester accent, being a Manchester girl myself. Could I ask, has Demetrius, your character, still got the Manc accent? Do you keep it?
Damn right we keep it. Yeah, of course I do. That's what it's all about. It's about putting our accents, we've got many different types of northern accents in this show, and that was just what it was about, finding those actors that have still got that rawness and that authenticity to the region that they're from, and putting it on stage despite the status of the character. A lot of the time over the years, traditionally in Shakespeare, Northerners have been a jester or working class types, but in this show it doesn't matter if you're a lord or if you're anybody. Your accent is who you are. You put that into the costumes without giving too much away. I'm laughing now thinking about what I have to wear and my thick Mancunian accent. But yeah, man, I love it. It was nice for me to experience that, to be honest, because you do Shakespeare and you think about it being an RP. You watch, the majority of it is an RP. So for me to lean into that and be encouraged to just be to be my authentic self in my voice is great.
But I think that brings it to a new audience, especially a young audience, having that kind of taking off the preconceptions of Shakespeare, which sometimes can be like, oh, it's going to be too hard to get my head around. But actually, it's not. It's a story. It's some of the greatest stories ever told that Shakespeare did. But I think it just makes it seem a little bit more relatable.
100%. I mean, Shakespeare was never written for any language, nor he was from the Midlands. So if anything, he's probably sounding more like us than he does the modern day RP accent. And for somebody, I've had family members and friends come to see this show, and I think there's something about being able to hear a voice like yours that makes you go, oh, okay, you don't have to use an extra part of your brain because you're already listening to familiar sounds. And I mean, he's the best writer ever, isn't he? So it makes my life a lot easier anyway when the writing is that good. I just say the words as best and as truthful as we all can. And in this space, it just transcends to every single seat and every person. It's
absolutely. Do you know what? You seem like the loveliest guy. I can't imagine you as Demetrius. That's how good an actor you must be, because Demetrius, I can't stand him. I've got to say, he's a bit of a bad one, isn't he?
To say the least, yeah. I did have a moment midway through rehearsals where I was like, oh my God, I knew he was horrible, but I was like, God, I'm feeling how horrible he is. And I was checking in. I was like, is he all right? I'm like, I don't want to make him too bad. And it's like, nope, we want the fury. Just bring the fury. I was like, okay, you want it? I'll bring it. But he has a nice arc, but with
it comes good.
We see a softer, more vulnerable, childlike side to him as the story goes on. But yeah, unfortunately, he isn't a nice person. But I think that's what's so great about this play. It reflects a time when men were bad and women was, subjected to what men, they had to do what they say. But Matthew, Jimmy have made this show in a way where women are that they're not just subservient to men in this show. Definitely, Bex and the other actors in the show really do come up trumps and give it I hate using the word modern twist because it's not a twist at all. I just think Shakespeare is so great. You can set it in any time, and it mirrors the society that we're in today, and it really does that.
But it is quite contemporary, this one. It is a really kind of, different kind of style of Shakespeare. I know there's a lot of secrecy and stuff I cannot give away, so I'm trying not to do any spoilers.
Me
but what
too.
I will say is, should I tell people, maybe if they're sat on the first couple of rows and they're a bit shy, then they should expect the unexpected, Tyler.
I think no matter where you sat, and if you're a bit shy, expect the unexpected. But yeah, you know, it's a bit like going to you know, a comedy show. You know, if you sit on the front, you're gonna be more involved. You know, Not Too Tame are all about making the show for the audience. You know, they call it like gig theatre, because when you come to see a Not Too Tame show, it's like a night out, no matter what time of day it is. And I think that's what's really beautiful, because if you used to tell me that going to a show, I'd be thinking, right, okay, I'll be prepared for this. But I don't think you can prepare yourself for anything. If you're going to come and see our show, come with an open heart and an open mind. Grab yourself a drink, whether that's alcoholic or non-alcoholic, and just come and just allow yourself to be taken in, and just like, you know, give yourself over, because, you know, you've got 2.5 hours in this space. So yeah, just, you know, come along for the ride with us. It's fun.
Oh, it is definitely going to be a fun night out at the theatre, and what an experience. So if you can go and see it, do get down to Shakespeare North Theatre in Prescott. It's worth going those few extra miles to see that. It's on until the 22nd of October, and you can see Tyler Dobbs in action, and he's absolutely fantastic. Now, if you do want to go and see some more productions at the theatre across Greater Manchester, there is one website to go and check out. It is ilovemanchester.com/theatre. Tells you everything you need to know, some of the best reviews around. And also, do give us a follow, because we are on social media throughout the week. We're on Twitter and Instagram at Live in the Hive 21. And of course, we are here every Sunday night on your Facebook stream, on I Love Manchester's Facebook, and also Live in the Hive. So do spread the word. If you love your theatre, if you've got friends who love theatre, then this is the place to be. Sunday night at 8 o'clock with me. Thank you for joining me, and I will see you next week. Bye for now.